Hey, everybody, welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic continues today. North Carolina post-season basketball roster construction for next year's team. Season ended a week ago in Milwaukee when the Tar Heels lost to Ole Miss. Monday of this week, the exit meetings with players began, and the Tar Heels became fully ensconced in all things portal and roster development. What we've done here is I've taken 4 days of daily drops and decided to connect them with a little series, each one identifying absolute needs through the portal. The first one was three-point shooting. That's to replace. Carolina was good enough from the perimeter in the end. They just must replace to try to stay at that level to be an elite team next year. The second one was rebounding. The Tar Heels must get significantly better to be on the glass in order to be an elite team. The third one was defensive efficiency. I outlined where Carolina was very far away from being elite on the defensive end of the floor, and in order to be elite, must improve and find ways to do that through the portal. The fourth and final thing that Carolina must have on next year's roster in order to be elite are dogs. Dogs. I'm going to use the portal very quickly, and then I'll go through Carolina's number one seeds this century. Since the portal era really started happening, and Carolina started building rosters in part through the portal, and I'm going to go back to Hubert's first year. He got Brady Manick through the portal. Brady was a dog. Brady was a fanny slapper. Brady was a call guys out kind of dude. And that was a big part of why once he got in the starting lineup and Dawson Garcia did the program a favor and left to free up that spot so Hubert would finally start him and play him 35 minutes a game. That's a huge reason why that team made a run, because they had a dog out there. I think he elevated everybody else's dog. The next year, they try to replace him with Pete Nance. Pete Nance is a good player, saw time in the NBA, wasn't a dog. He didn't drip dog onto other guys. He didn't perspire it all over to people. It didn't spread. That team lacked the dog nature, and it did not make the NCAA tournament. Last year, Hubert goes out and gets Harrison Ingram and Cormac Ryan. Big-time dogs. If they were football players, I would call them guys that chew glass. Some of our listeners like that term for football players. They were dudes that chewed glass. They were fanny smackers. They were floor burn guys. Cormac was a kick over the water cooler guy in practice. And they were a number one seed. This year, they lacked dogs. I think that there was an element of dog to RJ. I think Seth Trimble has part of that in him. There might be a little bit of that with Van Allen Lubin, but they didn't have it in the form of Brady Manick or in the form of Harrison Ingram or even Cormac Ryan. And I'm going to go through here and read the number one seeds for this century and tell you who those dogs were. And it's not hard to understand why those were great teams or elite teams. It's absolute. To be elite, you got to have dogs. To advance in the NCAA tournament, you got to have dogs. North Carolina's history knows this. It reeks of it. So let's go through these number one seeds this century and discuss who the dogs were to add further proof to this point I'm making here. 2019, Cam Johnson had become a dog. There was some screw you in his game, and he made himself an NBA player that offseason. Kobe White absolutely had dog in him. Once he fully took the reins, which is around the Kentucky game in Chicago, right before Christmas, Kobe was a dog. There's no way Luke May produces the way he did in college without having dog in him. Absolutely. Ask Duke and NC State if Luke was a dog or not. That team was the number one seed. If it wasn't for the flu bug and guys throwing up like crazy and needing IVs, maybe they get to the Final Four that year. 2017 National Championship team. Joel Berry was an absolute dog. Theo Pinson was a dog. Go look at how Kennedy Meeks played late that season. Dog. Look at the Oregon game. Dog. Look at the block shot against Gonzaga. Dog. 2016, they lose in the national championship game. The reason Bryce Johnson turned himself into a number one pick was because he became a dog. Go back to the Providence game in the second round, the block shots, the screaming, the ferocity of his game. He was a dog. Oh, Joel Berry and Theo Pinson, also dogs that year. 2012, there was a dog nature in some respects to Tyler Zeller, but he was very finesse. But John Henson, for as thin as he was a dog. Henson didn't take any crap. He barked. He smacked fannies. He was a guy that got under the skin of opponents. He was a dog. Reggie Bullock, who is often forgotten on that team, gave them a lot of dog. Very good defender. He rebounded exceptionally well from the wing, knocked down some big shots. He had dog in him. That's why he's lasted so long in the NBA, because he's a dog. 2009, this one's easy. They were loaded with him. Tyler Hansbrough, the ultimate dog. Danny Green, big-time dog. That's why one reason he lasted. Plus, he could drain it. Ty Lawson, his maturation into being a dog was a massive part of why he became a damn good college player and why they were a runaway national champion. 2008, the year before, Hansbrough, Lawson, Green, and add Marcus Ginyard to the mix. Marcus missed the 2009 season with an injury. That club had 4 dogs. They went 36-3. 2007, I only have Hansbrough listed because he was a dog from day one. Lawson, as a freshman, wasn't yet that guy. Green wasn't totally that guy. They were still maturing in that direction. They had some other dudes that gave him some of that, but they still had Tyler, and he elevated the level of dog in other guys. Maybe not the full dog status, if you will, but pretty close to it. 2005, Raymond Felton, absolutely a dog at the point. Sean May, go back and look at the numbers. 26-24 against Duke. Only a dog does that. A dog with immense talent. And Marvin Williams was a dog. So this is my point. In order for North Carolina to be elite, now I'm going to connect all 4 of these drops. Got to be very good from the perimeter. Not to be great, but very good. Got to replace that. But must be much better rebounding the basketball than this team was. Must be much better defensively than this team was. And you got to have dogs. Go a little bit deeper. How about George Lynch in 1993, win the national championship? He's one of the great dogs in Carolina history. 1982, James Worthy was a dog. And oh, by the way, Michael Jordan. Other really good Carolina teams, the 97 and 98 teams, Antoine Jameson was a personification of dog. Adam Okulaja was a dog. The 95 team, Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, great players and dogs. You got to have them. Watch the tournament now. The teams that advance have those guys. It was missing this year. Part of roster reconstruction. Got to find these guys. And quite frankly, your rebounder that you need, your defensive dude that you need can also be your dog. You can achieve those 3 things with one dude. Bring in a couple of them, and you could completely change what North Carolina basketball looks like next season, because the mission should be being elite again. That's the standard. Not just be better, not just replace these guys and be the same. Be elite. And elite teams have dogs. There aren't any elite teams that do not have dogs. That should be the mission. Hey, if you've listened to all 4 of these, fantastic. Let me know what you guys think. Give me your thoughts. What else does this team need? I'm not narrowing it to these 4, but I wanted to highlight these 4 things. This program needs a lot. There's no doubt about it. So in the comments, let us know what other things you would add to the list as well. If you haven't heard any or all of the 4 pods in this series, go back and listen to them. Check them out. Connect the dots. Perimeter shooting, rebounding, defense, dog. That's what it is. We'll see what they come up with. What that roster looks like next season. Without acquiring these things, it might be a little bit more of the same for the Tar Heels. I'm AJ, and I appreciate you stopping by.